We are here with yet another episode of what I call the world-renowned, the #1 podcast that is in all of Los Angeles. Be visuals, you got to understand it.
Amen.
We are here with another amazing influencer, another creative, another powerful mind representing the city of Midtown Los Angeles in this motherfucker. You got to understand, it's my brother, it's your brother, the one and only on the Unselfish Behavior Podcast, my brother Robert Centeno. Did I say it right?
Yes, sir.
Did I say it right?
Yes, sir.
My brother, man, thank you for coming, bro.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited to have you. You got to understand, I got to say, this brother is an LA High alumni, home of the mighty, mighty Romans. We wasn't good at shit in regards to academics or sports, but, you know, we still got that Roman pride. But, man, I'm excited to have you here, bro. Jumping into it, I always like to say this is a guest-based podcast. The listeners know that as well. And what we like to do is we like to provide inspiration and empowerment through storytelling. We're going to jump into many different avenues of perspectives, how you view life. We're going to talk about your journey. You have a very successful skateboarding brand and apparel company. We're going to talk about a multitude of different things. But before we do that, I want to allow you to have the floor to talk to the people a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what you stand for those that don't know you.
So my name is Robert Centeno. I am an entrepreneur. I am a child of God.
There we go.
I am into love, community, and giving back.
There we go. I love it. I love it. Hey, and if y'all wondering why the hell King Q wearing this beanie, you got to understand, I had to represent for my brother. This is my brother's brand right here.
Yeah.
You know, give me the name Maliceous Skates.
Malicious Skates.
Malicious Skates.
Yes,
you know
sir.
how I look. I know damn well I look good because I'll put it on me. But no, we here. I'm very excited because, like I said, you represent the same place I'm from, Midtown. And for those of you who don't know where Midtown is at, just stop it. Just stop it. Because y'all want to claim World on Wheels. Y'all want to take all, you know about Lucy's, you know about Roscoe's. Y'all be over there chilling, acting like y'all know what part of the city that's
The young
in.
Okie dog.
The Okie dogs. Look, that's Midtown. You know, it's Tom's #5 on West Boulevard in Pico. You got to understand, Pico Pool. They don't be knowing, bro. Capital Burger. They actually just shut down Capital Burger over there off Pico.
That was
you
OG
know.
with the
That hurt
original
my heart.
prices.
That hurt my heart, dog. You
the
talking about pastrami sandwiches, nigga.
$1.50 shakes.
Bro, stop playing. Capital Burger was underrated, dog.
Yeah.
Capital
I
Burger
agree.
is a pivotal spot in LA that a lot of people didn't talk about. Neither here nor there. But what I like to do right now is just kind of jump into the brand, right? Maliceous Skates. You the first one that's coming in here representing the skateboarding company, which is something I'm very, very excited about talking about. Give us some insight in terms of how you started your brand. What did that process look like? What inspired you to start a skateboarding company?
Let me kind of take it back a little bit. So it started off with me skating in middle school, and the friends that inspired me and who I looked up to. A lot of the kids that I grew up with, you know, there was like 3 or 4 that were sponsored.
Yes, sir.
And just kind of getting the opportunity to get free items and like boards, clothes, shoes, just kind of inspired me to be like, like, what is this about? You know, right now at the scale that, skateboarding, is at, the Olympics, now have added skateboarding.
Get out of here. 2020, right?
Yeah. So the
Wow.
Olympics of
Big
2020
time.
will now have skateboarding in it, which is major.
Long overdue too, right?
Yeah.
Long
Skateboarding has
overdue.
been, they've done X Games.
X Games
They
lit.
now have Street League. But for somebody like me, I'm very grassroots, homegrown.
Nice.
I'm a brand, but I feel like those type of moves, even though it's on a corporate level,
It's pivotal.
It's pivotal.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very
real.
pivotal.
That's real. One thing that I love about you and a lot of people who come on this show, because the emphasis is having people that's on the show that represent the city of LA through entrepreneurship and creativity, and through artistry ultimately, because you're an artist as well. But for me, I always like the stories of people who were born and raised in a certain environment of toxicity and chaos and having access to a multitude of different negative avenues, if you will. Like for me growing up, I feel like gang banging for anybody that was born and raised in LA and in Midtown, especially in the era that we grew up in, gang banging was literally right outside of your door. And for a lot of people, a lot of young brothers, it still is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, I born and raised in the schoolyards my whole life. You know, in Midtown, schoolyards, 18 streets, right? Just to name a few. But that was like the influence for me when I was a young kid, and we not knowing no better. So we just hanging around whoever looks cool or whoever's trendy.
Yeah.
But for me, I love hearing stories about people who had those influences right outside of their doors, but they chose to do the opposite with their lives moving forward in adulthood.
Yeah.
So for you, being born and raised in LA, you've had influences of seeing, chaos, seeing fights, seeing drugs, seeing gangs, right? Seeing the culture and being in the culture.
Yeah.
How important is it for you to make sure that you're representing for your family and for the youth, the next generation coming behind you, to say, look, y'all, I know it looks bad, but y'all don't have to go down that road. Y'all don't have to be a product of your environment in a negative light. You can take those aspects and become a very awesome man while creating a brand centered around things that you love. How important is that for you to be a representation of change, of something that's against the norm for people in inner
it
cities?
really goes with going against the grain.
Yeah,
I feel like the way my life started out, I had a kid at 19.
Oh, nice.
I feel like when you have that type of influence to make choices that are not your usual, you tend to look at life differently.
Yeah.
But just having that right outside of my doorstep, I looked up to, taggers. We had, like Bloods in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just having that skateboard was that option of like,
that was the outlet.
yeah, that was like, okay, do I want to learn how to do a trick or do I want to kick it with these guys?
Right.
Going to get a beer is easy, or going to smoke is easy, but like learning that trick and like that persistence or that, the fulfillment that you get out of landing a trick, or it's just like for a basketball player when you can shoot
pick
threes,
that ball up, you shoot that
9
ball.
out of 10.
Yeah.
Oh man, 9 out of 10 is like almost perfect.
Yeah.
I feel like just skateboarding gave me the option, but to answer your question, it just comes back to a choice.
I love it.
You have to make a choice, because if you don't make the choice to not want to be a follower all your life, even if you don't know your purpose right away,
there we go.
just breaking the cycle of what we're meant to do.
Yes, sir.
Because that's what we're meant to do, is like follow whatever the heck is in. When we go against the grain, it just completely changes the way your life goes. You know? So I think just choice.
Right.
Making a choice.
Right.
I think E40 had a song called Choices.
Choices, yeah.
Man,
that's real. That's real.
That's real.
I'm just soaking it in, man, because it's very interesting. You mentioned a word that stood out to me, which was fulfillment. Fulfillment is like another level of joy, right? Fulfillment is like that feeling of like, I can't live without this. And for a lot of young kids, man, they have, but they don't know that they have effective and not just kids, but adults as well. Like you said, it's a lot of adults, brother, who don't know their purpose. And that's, again, a huge and pivotal reason why we even started this platform, to inspire people to learn what their purpose is. But your purpose, I'm one to believe that your purpose is attached to the thing that fulfills you the most, right? The thing that brings you the most fulfillment, but it's also in the realm of service to other people, right? With you obviously starting a skateboarding company. Did you start off by skateboarding, or were you fascinated by the market itself in regards to like, there's a market here. I see people are into, this apparel, these shoes, these skateboards.
Truthfully, it started with me doing it myself. I never was in it for the money. I'm still not in it for the money.
Love it.
I get a fulfillment out of creating product. I get a fulfillment out of creating design. I get a fulfillment out of producing and having something that was here come out into fruition, just seeing people wear it, getting tagged on it on social media, Like there is a fulfillment in that as well.
Yeah.
And then knowing that the name of the brand was my nickname in high school. They used to call me Skates before.
Come on.
So I used to be from a party crew.
Come on.
You know,
as we all were at
you
one
know,
point.
so
Be visuals. Let me find out you was from a party crew, man. Huh?
You know, so I was part of a party crew, and that my nickname was Skates.
Gotcha.
So before the Maliceous came along, and I'm gonna keep it 1,000%.
Yeah.
You know, the Clips was one of my favorite rap groups.
Come on.
So you know,
Pharrell and them boys,
Pusha T's brother, his name is Malice.
Got you.
So you know the name Malice. You know, I started looking into it. You know, in Spanish. The word malicioso means handsome, good looking.
Go ahead.
So it's a nickname. So my grandma used to be like, oh, que malicioso, you know? So I was like, yo, like I've heard this in English. So I was like, what does this word mean?
Right.
So at that point in my life, when I added Malicious to the Skates, it was
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, this is exactly where I'm at.
Right.
I'm a little badass kid. But yet, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm good looking,
Right,
you know,
right.
like
Come
hey,
on,
girls,
man.
whatever.
Come
So I
on,
kind
man.
of just brought that into Skates. So it was Malicious Skates. So
I
even
love it.
before a brand, that
I
was
love
just
it.
who I was.
I love
and
it.
I'm going back to MySpace.
MySpace days,
MySpace.
top
So,
8s, nigga. Who's in
yeah,
your top 8?
yeah.
Be visuals. I
So-
know you had a top 8,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
It's crazy. Talking about MySpace, how all these kids used to do coding without even knowing, man.
Ain't that crazy? What you mean,
Bro.
nigga?
Crazy. Crazy. No.
Hey, you know when a nigga agree with something he don't know nothing about?
No. Think about it. You know how people used
Say,
to.
yep, all of them was on codeine.
They used
What
to.
you
No,
mean?
not codeine. Coding. Computer.
Oh, I'm thinking about codeine.
No.
I said, damn, I didn't know it
I'm
was out
talking
back
about.
then.
I'm talking about computer coding.
Come on.
Think
yes,
about
sir.
it.
Yes,
They used
sir.
to add profile they used to add music to their profiles. They used to change the
Yeah.
appearance of the profile. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I work in. I have a regular 9 to 5,
Come
and I
on.
work for a tech company. So like, to know that these people make 120, 150
Come
a
on.
year, and people were doing it back on MySpace days, bro,
Yeah.
it's like trips me out, man.
That's real. That's
That's
real.
real,
I love
bro.
It. I love it. Yeah. MySpace was pretty lit for me. I was just into the ladies. I was into, you know what I'm saying, looking cool on the MySpace.
On the
Remember
Instant
putting
Messenger.
A photo bucket was lit. You know, you could say I still got my photo bucket password, might I add. But neither here nor there. Be visuals. Snap out of it. Y'all, if y'all can only see Be Visuals, you know I always got to tease Be Visuals. Matter of fact, Be Visuals, my brother Robert right here, you know, this is a mutual brother I know from LA High, but y'all got to understand, Be Visuals actually booked this brother,
Yeah.
and he's a mutual friend of both of us. You know what I'm saying?
We have history.
How you know Be Visuals? Talk to me about this dude.
I used to buy my Nike SBs and boards from him, so he used to be the
Nigga
plug.
used to be selling shit out the truck.
Yeah,
Look at
he
him.
was the plug.
Come on.
He was the plug. Yeah, that's real. Hey man,
BV, so I got what you need.
All these sneakers that everybody's into now, I used to get them from Brandon.
Hey B, one of these days I'm gonna call your ass on this camera. You gotta understand it. I know
Yeah.
we filming.
Yeah, he has his history, man. But
That's what's up.
I've
man.
known
Look.
Brandon. I think about 15 years, man.
Yeah, that's a good
15
brother right
years.
there. You know,
15
I always
years.
got to tease Be Visuals, man, because he's such a mastermind. But he's so mysterious too. You ever seen The Great Gatsby? Mm-hmm. You ever seen that shit? Like
He does
we
a
at
Leonardo dance.
Yeah. We at his
Yeah.
party. We chilling. We like, damn, this shit is lit. Like, who's doing this shit? It's Be Visuals.
Hey.
You never see him, though. But look, one thing that I want to say, man, and I love it, especially on the topic of us just kind of talking about brotherhood, man, with each other. I think it's very, very important to talk about the direct distinction between black and brown relations in our community,
Yeah.
especially the brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially the brothers. Now, what I mean by that is, when I was growing up, I grew up in predominantly black and brown communities, like we all did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people who was born and raised in the inner city, you know. And for me, I grew up with that sense of pride for both sides.
Yeah.
Like I've always looked at my Latin brothers as they're my brothers, just like my black brothers are. Literally,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my mom was super big on that. All of our neighbors were Hispanic for the most part.
Yeah.
And so who we playing with on Saturdays and Sundays? Who's coming to our house, eating cereal and watching fucking Spider-Man in the morning? Like literally our neighbors. My mom was so Southern, so she used to like invite our neighbors for breakfast. She used to invite our neighbors for dinner and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we had fruit trees and shit. We had little salamanders in the front yard on Lucerne and Pico. Neither here nor there. It was a great childhood, might I add. But what I'm saying is this. Talk to me about the importance, bro, and talk to me about some personal testimony behind your relation between black and brown brothers,
Yeah.
right? It's to my understanding that you grew up around predominantly black brothers as your homeboys, right?
So
talk to me about that.
So I grew up in the jungles.
Okay.
So I went to Hillcrest, went to Audubon.
Okay.
Went to Dorsey, got kicked out, ended up going to LA High. But it really goes back to Hillcrest, Hillcrest Elementary, and the friends that I created there, and how it led me to where I'm at. A lot of what kept me alive came from some brothers, bro. Yeah. So, shout out to Daryl Tripp. That's the reason. That's the reason why I started my brand. He gave me my first skateboard. So. And he taught me how to, go body and put my fist up.
Come on, hey, what y'all know about going body? Huh?
And like slap boxing.
There we go.
And, he very influential.
Nice.
To my life.
Big brother to you, basically.
Yeah. I mean, he took me out of this box that I was in of imagination to real life. So it's like. Boy turned monster kind of thing.
Come on.
Because, my mom died when I was 10 and I made the choice to act out. So I had a reason to, so I didn't care,
Gotcha.
So I stopped caring about my grades. I stopped, worrying about like trying to be a good boy now for my mom.
Gotcha.
And, just kind of just live.
Yeah.
We as children, we don't really think about the choices we're making.
Yeah.
And, a lot of my success, I can throw it back to Daryl and Cottrell and, I think his name was CJ, his little brother, and Casey and, the homie Oscar,
Yeah.
Porfidio. All these guys were the skaters in the jungles that were good. They were like the ones, like mid-90s. Like have you ever seen the movie Mid-90s?
I've heard of it for sure.
Yeah, it's a skate film from the 90s.
I've definitely heard of it.
But literally that was us. So everybody that lived in that area knew they had to go inside when the lights came on. We would stay out.
Come on, all the skaters come out at night.
We'll be out, so that was frowned upon, especially as children.
Gotcha.
The area was not that good
Gotcha.
at that time,
That's real.
But so I went from that and then ended up moving to Mid-City.
Best city.
I went from a blood neighborhood to another blood neighborhood.
Come on.
I grew up, like right off Arlington and Washington, and went back to it, and then meeting the brothers over there, and them having a mutual respect because I held my ground.
Yeah.
My brother and I, shout out to Mob Scene, my little brother
Mob
Brian.
C out there. Look, we see you. Come on now.
We grew up in a way where. Just like how we know, Q, his big brother Ace,
shout out
used to have,
aka Ace Bone back then.
Yeah, Ace Bone used to have love for us because we were not your typical Latinos, man. We stood out. Like my barber said earlier today, I was just telling Q, there's something special about me and my brother, and I really feel like that goes back to the purpose and like where God has placed us to meet the people that we have met and associate ourselves and network and kind of just become this net, this connection to the brown and the black community. I feel like we're like a bridge.
Yep.
I'm not saying
I agree.
I'm not gonna say that's my goal or anything, but I see that there can be a bridge walked because of the relationships that I carry with certain people.
We have
that are brothers.
Such a power together, unified.
Yeah.
And for me, I never understood growing up, and I'm sure you've experienced it as well on both ends of the spectrum, racism between two people who have the same struggles.
Yeah.
So with me, especially with this platform, I always like to talk about things that people don't like to talk about, right? And what I mean by that is growing up, bro, I've experienced racism from Latino people towards blacks. And I'm sitting there looking like, nigga, we from the same community. We both on EBT. We both at the WIC office. We both getting harassed by the police. We both out here gang banging. We both in the liquor stores. We both. So for me, I've never really understood that. Have you experienced that before?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So I know we were talking about high school. And
yeah.
So, I was a tagger in high school, and I think this was 2004, 2003.
That's when Brandon was graduating high school.
Yeah, that we, there was a spurt of racial riots that started from prison, and it ended up leading to the school system from big brothers or uncles or aunties, and it ended up infecting us as children to think that way, you know?
Right.
And it just, for myself, I obviously I told you I have friends that were brothers, so like,
right.
when that happened, you know, I know the person that started it. You know, rest in peace to her.
Started the race riot
at LA High.
Wow.
Yeah. So she was my neighbor.
Wow.
And you know, she just had a motive, and she's like, you know, even though she loved us, you know, she was like, I don't like them.
That's crazy.
So, you know, she just made the choice to rob somebody's purse, and that turned into the other Latina girl snitching, and that turned into them like, oh, you snitching, and they beat her up, and she got knocked unconscious. Then it put me in the middle when that happened, because I was like, I know her, and I know her,
right?
And I was like, damn, what do I do?
Right.
You know, so I had to make a choice. Like, what am I about to do right now?
Right.
You know. So the girl that I was with at that time, she used to tag too. So you know, that was her friend. So it's like by default, I was like, yo, I'm back my girl up. I wasn't even thinking race. I wasn't even thinking whose side am I on. I was like, I gotta protect my girl. Right. So it started off as a woman thing.
That's crazy, bro.
At LA High.
You know what's crazy though?
It was during a multicultural assembly too. You know, so
I remember my 9th grade semester, because I think you're 4 years older than me, right?
I'm 32.
32, so I'm 28. So I remember for me, my 9th grade semester, when I was in 9th grade, you and my brother Ace was in 12th grade. Y'all was on y'all way out. You graduated in 2006. You class 06, right? Yeah. So when I
did an extra year, by the way. I was supposed to be 05.
Hey, shit, so do we all.
Keep it G.
You know what I'm saying? Keep it 100. but I'll never forget my 9th grade year at LA High, bro. That race riot shit was heavy. And as you remember, we had tracks at LA High. Yeah. So it felt like when A track was on and B track started, all the Bloods was on B track. Do you remember that? All the Crips was on A track, and then all the Cholos was on C track. Come on, shoot dice, make money. It ain't never funny. Land of milk and honey. I was back there by
Get Like Me.
Come on, man, stop playing. Back there by Wood Shop, shooting dice. You know where it's at, over there by the tennis courts. But what I'm saying is this: when I was in 9th grade, it was huge race riots, bro. It was crazy. I remember it vividly. I remember the hallways. The race riots are the reason why LA High actually implemented cameras in their hallways. Yeah. Because prior to that, niggas was getting jumped in the hallways. I think we were the first
school at LAUSD to get cameras.
Niggas was getting jumped in the hallways in groups, like in bunches, just Hispanic dudes, black dudes, jumping for nothing. Yeah, just and because. I'll never forget, bro, walking home one day, and I was with Ace, I was with the whole crew, I was with Juice, you know Juice, right? Yeah. Yeah, well, I was with Ace, I was with Juice, I was with Juicy, I was with Mike, I was with my brother, I was with the homeboy Calvin. And my brother, I'm not sure if you remember, but Ace used to always have that fucking video camera in his hand. Do you remember that? Ace was like that dude to go up to before you about to start a fight.
Before World Star.
Before your cell phone. This nigga Ace used to be walking around LA High with a fucking video camera.
World Star.
Video camera and everybody that's fighting. So if you about to fight at LA High, you looking for Ace to go record it. So I'll never forget, bro, during the race riot era, my 9th grade year, we walking to Tom's on Washington, on West Boulevard in Pico. And we get to Tom's, bro, and the homie Calvin and the other homies, they literally just looking for the first Hispanic dudes that they see. The first Hispanics that they see, they bombing on them, and Ace gonna record it. And so, shame to say, we was a part of the shit. But as kids, what we talking about? I was 14 years old, 13, 14 years old, and you just into doing what everybody else is doing. You know what I'm saying? But it saddens my heart to even think that that type of behavior is still going on between our black and brown brothers and sisters. For me, I'm extremely passionate about the evolution of our people as a collective. I'm gonna say that one more time. I'm very passionate about seeing the evolution of our people as a collective. There's not one that can win without the other. And until we start realizing that, I think that we have so much work to do, and 100%. We're so far behind, because there's a direct correlation between why both of our races of people find ourselves constantly getting attacked. Yeah. There's no coincidence that obviously the president, you know, who's in office right now is directly has like a fucking vendetta for Mexicans in particular.
Yeah.
Like he ain't even Mexicans.
I recently saw something.
You know what I'm
saw
saying?
the wall starting to get built, by the way.
It is.
And
absolutely.
they have a footage of somebody like hopping it though.
That shit wild.
They
better raise it.
I saw that today.
They better raise it. So, but what I'm saying is this. I don't give a fuck how big they make a wall. Like, for me, the real enemy is not even outside of our borders. Now we about to jump into a conversation that I think really needs to be had in regards to this country and the direction that it's going. Obviously, we're gearing towards another electoral year. We're about to. I'm not too
There's
big.
people dropping.
Bro, I'm not too big into it myself. I'm gonna allow you to talk to it, but I'm not too big on the politics and the presidents and voting.
I kind of want to speak about what you were just talking about first. Like, I feel like without us even trying.
Yeah.
If you notice, a lot of Latino and Black families now. Yeah. There's a lot of connection without us even trying.
I love it.
You know, I feel like love is more powerful than hate in that aspect. You know?
Oh, yeah.
So families are being created regardless of race. Yeah. Regardless of where you come from, where you're from. You know, it don't matter. Absolutely. So I feel like we already have a jump start on it, but we haven't realized it yet. That the connection between the both is more powerful than separated.
Where do you think the work starts between us? How do you think we start to bridge that gap? Because you mentioned a little bit about it earlier. How do you think we start to bridge that gap between Black and brown and really starting to work in unison? What do you think the work should be emphasized on, and how do you think we should start that work?
I think it really just comes down to that understanding that we all play our part. Yeah. We all have a position.
Play your position.
You know, and knowing that maybe Miguel can do what Carl can't.
Got you.
And being able to work together to get this money. You know, like if the motives change, because right now everybody's me. Yep. If we think us,
that's right.
It just becomes much more powerful. Yeah. Because it's not, let's say you're fighting a group of 10. If it's you by yourself, it becomes harder. But if it's two of y'all, you're much more powerful. You got four hands instead of just two.
It's beautiful.
So even if it's just two of y'all, you're going to figure it out. Right. But if it's just you in your mind, you're going to lose most likely. You're going to have some trouble. It's going to be harder than being able to have a partner or a friend, you know. So I think it just ultimately comes down to position. Play your part.
Love it.
Play your part.
I absolutely agree too. And I think that right there, us not having that mindset as a people has really kept us behind for so long. Yeah. Because we do live in a me type of community with each other. And it's not even so much, and I'm going to speak my truth, right? For me, I think that as a people, and I think it's shifting right now, so I want to make sure that I'm being clear on this. But what I've been noticing and what I've been recognizing since I've been here on this planet is that Hispanic people, Latin people, they really stick together in unison with each other. Like everything from looking out for one another, from treating family like family, by any means necessary. I don't give a fuck if it's 15 of us in this fucking apartment. Ain't nobody about to be homeless in our family. Yeah. And I feel like I've always loved that. I've always loved that aspect, and I've always felt like, damn, why don't the Black community have more of that? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that for a long time we lacked that, past tense. But what I have been seeing, though, that I think we're moving in a new direction as a people. Yeah. And until we get to a space of self-sustainability, I think then we'll be able to freely, as a people, say, you know what, let's bring in another group. Do you agree with that? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, from my life, you know, our family has always been the black sheep. Yeah. You know, going back to that term, I knew we were special. It all goes back to, you know, where I'm at right now, the direction of my mindset of where I'm going. Yeah. It's not your typical, you know, route. Yeah. You know, and the fact that I made a choice to not want to go the route everyone else is. Yes, sir. It's super important. Mm-hmm. So for me, it just really comes back to my family and the way I grew up.
Yes, sir.
You know, my family is not like everybody else because the only real family that I have is my direct. Yeah. You know, my dad's side, you know, they between sister, brother, they don't get along. That's not how we are at home. Gotcha. We're exactly what you said. Die hard.
I love it.
We'll figure it out no matter what. you know, like,
everybody good.
Yeah,
at all
so
times.
not all Latino families are like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that doesn't mean that we're, you know, it's limited. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't say that, you know, everybody is like that, because I mean, everybody has problems.
Right,
Nobody's
of course.
perfect. But I know for what I grew up
Yeah.
with and the way my dad, you know, raised us,
Yes, sir.
it's unity. It's
I love
being there for each other. Oh, you lost your job? Cool, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yep.
You know, be pillars of
Yeah,
your home. You know,
absolutely.
because the pillars are what keep
That's right.
the house strong. So
Yep.
if you become a pillar, you hold up the rest of the house. And
You're
if
part
one
of the
pillar
foundation.
goes,
That's right. You
it ends
tipping
up
over.
breaking. Yeah.
That's
So-
real. I love it. I love it so much. When I hear you speak, I hear you speak about family a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a home very faith-based. For those who know me, I'm very transparent. I grew up in a Jehovah's Witness household. Mom and dad, both Jehovah's Witnesses, growing up my whole life. That's not to say I'm a Jehovah's Witness now. I think a lot of people, they hear that and they be like, oh, can't you a Jehovah's Witness? No, I'm not a Jehovah's Witness right now. But that's the type of faith that I grew up with. I don't think there's anything wrong with the religion at all. I think
Not
that,
at all.
you know, it just works for certain people, different beliefs, different strokes, different folks. But I want to talk to you a little bit about faith. I want to talk to you a little bit about God. I'm a huge believer in God. I do believe that my purpose is fueled by God's intentions for me on this planet. And that's centered around inspiration and empowerment of the people, for the people, and service through utilizing my gift and my voice and my communication. I want to talk to you a little bit about what your experience has been like from a faith perspective, because it's to my understanding that you didn't grow up with the type of faith that you do now. I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
What was that transition like for you from going from a man who didn't have a faith background to now being in the church, being involved, and making sure that God is your number one priority?
So it really goes back to my childhood. I feel like everything always winds back down to my past, and realizing that my past built my future.
Love it.
And the choices that I made. When my mom passed, you know, even though we didn't go to church before, I knew who God was.
Yes,
I knew about Jesus, but I didn't know him personally. I now have a relationship with
There
Christ.
we go.
And for me, it's not really a religion. You know, religion are just rules that are, you know, your life is based out of, which are not bad for you.
Of course.
You know, a lot of people just want to be able to incorporate their regular carnal urges,
There we go.
or they want it to be convenient for who they are, but really the way God wants us to live is like him.
Absolutely.
The rules he's given us,
Yeah.
you know, the commandments, obviously, I think I was telling
Yep.
you this a little earlier
go in
before
there.
the
Go into
show.
it.
You know, the 10 commandments are common sense rules of life.
Yep.
You know, those are the things that obviously we wouldn't want people to do to us.
Those are no-brainers.
You know, those are no-brainers. So
Yeah.
I feel like for me, not growing up in church and being where I'm at now, it's beautiful just because I feel like God has been calling me since I was young. I just realized it now as an adult, you know. But when you take everything into perspective and you realize why things happened the way they did, why certain things didn't play out the way we thought they would,
Yes, sir.
you know, that it's like, damn, that was God's plan.
Right. Oh, it was his plan all along.
Yeah,
Oh, it
so
makes
things,
sense now.
you know, it's like the yellow brick road had been laid down for me
Yes, sir.
before I got to the destination,
Love
you
it.
know?
Yep.
So I wasn't paying attention, but until I finally took it upon myself to make a choice to be like, okay, like, what is it exactly you're trying to tell me? What do you want me to do? How do you want me to live my life?
There
you
we
know?
go.
Then that's when
He started
the
revealing
transition
himself.
happened, and I started listening to what he was doing. And, you know, God has blessed my family. God has blessed my daughter.
I love it.
You know, my dad was a drunk for as long as I remember. And he went to jail for his second DUI. And on the 7th day, bro, he called me. He's like, dude, you got to get me out of here. He's like, I made a promise to God that I'm not going to drink no more after this. And just that faith-based decision did something to my heart. I was like, damn, okay.
Ain't that something?
that was around the time I started my brand too.
Nice.
So I had some money saved up that I ended up having to use to get my dad
out of jail.
out.
Yeah.
So a lot happened at the beginning of this, and I feel like because I haven't given up, I feel like God's blessed me. Like I kind of was going through my emails, man, and I don't mean to steer off, but I just want to be able to bring this to the table. I was looking back at my emails and just kind of looking at the stuff that I've done.
Yeah.
Man, I'm proud of myself. Like I really am, and a lot of people pay for the type of moves that I've made.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Bro. Like, so it's just, I really am proud of myself.
I was thinking about that about my damn self today.
Yeah, and so
came a long way.
So sometimes we gotta pat ourselves on the back.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Realize
visuals. Pat yourself on the back, big dog.
Yeah, pat yourself.
Go ahead. Simone, pat yourself on the back. There we go. Everybody pat yourself on the back. Karen, pat yourself on the back. Got out Karen in the house. All right, go ahead.
No, but so it just now I'm serving at church.
I love it.
I've been consistent for 2 years.
Yes, sir.
Prior to that I was in and out, but just being able to have that relationship now.
You mentioned something very interesting to me when you were talking. You said that you feel like he was calling you, God that is, he was calling you for a long time, but you wasn't answering the call. Mm-hmm. Then you realized that, wow, he's calling me for something. Let me answer the call. What was the differentiation between not answering the call and choosing to answer the call? What was the switch for you? Why did you answer the call? Because I'm one to believe that when you answer the call, when you know you're called, it's usually involving something that you're uncomfortable with, or that you're scared of, or something that you question yourself with. Like, damn, can I do that? Or am I qualified to? Did you have that experience?
Truthfully, it really goes back to my daughter and making the choice to want to be an example the right way. Yeah. Being able to introduce her to something that I didn't have growing up. Giving her an option. You can't really describe the Holy Spirit in your heart.
You can't. It's impossible.
It's something that, like, I can't even describe in words, and that's what makes God Almighty.
That's right.
So my pivotal point was my daughter and the choice of wanting to be an example of what a man is supposed to be. Because we know we're supposed to do what we're supposed to do.
Yes, sir.
We just choose not to.
That's right.
Because we know what's right,
for
what's
our
wrong.
own selfish reasons.
Exactly.
Folks choose not to do what they're supposed to do.
Sometimes you have to make the choice whether we're going to do this or not. And
right on.
Truthfully, it was my daughter.
I love it so much.
That was the pivot. And, God used her life for me to realize you're not a boy no more. You're a man.
Game time.
It's game time,
it's game time.
So, my daughter.
That's beautiful. You mentioned fatherhood. I have a daughter as well. My daughter is 9 years old. And one thing that I realized, and that I've realized since I had her at 19, I stepped up to the plate immediately. Right when I found out it was going down, there was no way that I was running from it. I embraced it with open arms. Now, she's at a point where she's 9 years old, so she's understanding how life works a little bit. 3rd grade, she's experiencing different things. It's very scary for me, though, to think, especially with me working with kids, it's very scary for me to think about the types of things that she hears and has to deal with on a daily basis at school. Yeah. And so for me, though, where my confidence lies is the qualities and characteristics that I've instilled within this little girl since she was before she can even walk, right? And right when she started talking, I'm instilling qualities in her about the power of self-love and how her beauty lies within before it lies in the outer. Respect, honor, integrity, how to speak to people, how to sit when you have a skirt on, how to act in public, how to carry yourself, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, how to allow boys to talk. I've instilled those qualities in this little girl since she's been able to walk, literally. So if she was here, I'll ask her a question like, Delilah, what does it mean to be a lady? And she'll say, being a lady means to have respect here, and for your whole body. Respect your mind, respect your heart, and respect your body. The reason I bring this up is because I don't think it gets enough light for black and brown fathers out here that are really putting in work in regards to instilling qualities within their kids, not just daughters, but their boys and their girls.
Yeah.
How have you embraced that? And how do you feel like the things that you've instilled within her is going to carry on the legacy moving forward? Is there confidence there? I'm sure there is, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's I feel like, like I said, it goes back to my mom dying, man. And when she passed away, raising my little sister who's now 22 years old and getting the experience prior to my daughter being born, just kind of showed me what as a parent we're supposed to do. There's a direction, the fact that we have the opportunity to mold somebody the way we want them to has a lot to do with what we pour into their lives, the way we talk to them, the way we remind them that they're special, that they're beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. At the end of the day, our children are going to make their own choices.
Yep.
What we teach them will resonate in their head at some point, and they'll go back to that and say, "Hey, my dad told me this," or so. I'm very confident of what I'm doing, especially with my brand and the way I carry myself. The fact that I chose not to smoke weed. I've been clean for 7 years already.
Love it. Congrats,
so
bro.
stuff like that, making
your daughter's
choices.
always in the back of your mind with these decisions you're making. I love it.
There's a lot of, constant life decisions, and they can be like this small or they can be like this big. That all go back to that. Like,
right.
What would Star think of that?
Right. There we go. That's real. Based
like,
off
what would Delilah think of
what
that?
would she think of that? Damn, how would she? Boom, that's real. Yeah. Because little do we know, our kids have to deal with the consequences of our actions, whether positive or negative. So for me, when I started my journey, bro, my daughter was always the forefront of my why. I've always told people, man, you will waver, you will quit, you will give up on your journey if you don't have a strong enough why. You have to have something outside of your selfish self, because a lot of us, if not all of us, grew up selfish. We were born selfish. You don't have to teach a kid to say no in mine. Yeah, they just me. It's mine. It's mine.
Remember,
we
were talking about it. Me.
Everything me. So, so for me, I learned that it's very, very important for me to instill within her what I didn't get when I was younger. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's a sense of self. Yeah. A lot of fathers, and this is messages to the fathers right now, because I think it's very pivotal, especially black and brown fathers who deal with a lot of the stigmas that come with, whether it's child support, whether it's you not getting, whether it's a broken home, whether it's trying to be cordial with your baby mama, whether it's like, I get it. We have a lot of issues within our community that other races probably don't deal with as much as we do. And so for me, I say, look, man, if it's anybody out there that's a father in particular dealing with a toxic situation centered around either the mother of your child, their family, I say, man, listen, you have to remove those outer layers in order to understand what it's all about. It's about your kid. It's about your daughter. It's about your son. It's not about, what she did in the past, your baby mama. It's not about whether her family, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, and I think we're creating a space to where we're able to talk about, yes, we've dealt with issues before. Yes, we have struggles in regards to parenting. We don't have it all figured out. Yeah. But the difference between men like us, I think, is that we're willing to do the work. We're willing to do things that were never even taught to us a lot of times, too, in the black and brown community. We grew up with fathers that are alcoholics and on drugs. Like, we don't have a blueprint, but we're willing to learn. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's very important as well. Talk a little bit about the importance of the self-taught aspect of parenting, right? Yeah. Teaching your things that you may not necessarily have been told or taught. How's that process?
I think it really just goes back to breaking chains, man.
Yeah. Them generational curses, got to break them.
It all goes back to choices.
Yeah.
We got to make the choice to want to either follow in the footsteps.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad.
Yep. Because
every footstep is important, because whether you follow it or not, it gives you the option of choice.
Yes, sir.
So I feel like just breaking the chains of habit, you know,
doing things just based off habit and not thinking.
when things are habitual, it just is not healthy.
Got you.
You know, so just taking the good of what we were taught and using the bad
as fuel.
as well.
Yeah.
To not go that route.
That's right.
You know,
That's
so
right.
I feel like, you know, like the word, I think that's the word of the day, man. Choice.
Yeah. Choices. You know? I like that.
Word of the day,
and
man.
on that note, what I'm going to have you do, because at the Unselfish Behavior Podcast, you know, we always got to end with a special way. We always allow our guest to look at this camera right here and end off with what we call my main man, Rob, a.k.a. Robert, a.k.a. Centeno. You got to understand that it's very pivotal. We hear Maliceous Skates is in the building right now. Mm-hmm. We always allow our guests to look at this camera right here and end off with what we call an unselfish message from our guest, Robert. That message could be centered around absolutely anything that you want to leave the audience with. Any ending remark, any ending message that you want the audience to remember based off this interview or anything that you stand for. Go ahead and look at that camera. Let them know how you feel.
Let's see. There's a couple of things. If you want to be a little nosy, you know, you can look at my Instagram, Maliceous Skates, MALICOUSSSKATES. But something positive that I want to let everyone just know is that even though you don't have it all figured out, things will play out the way they're supposed to. Just make the right choices. Understand that you're going to trip, you're going to fall, you're going to have the scars, but let the scars be the reminder of where not to go the second time around.
And with that being said, you know, we always got to make sure we show that love. Thank you so much, brother. It was beautiful to talk to you. Yeah. You exude humility. You exude a grace that's undeniable. It's all in your eyes. I think the eyes are, they say, the gateway to the soul, and you have a beautiful soul, my brother. I'm proud of you. Maliceous Skates is in the building. You got to understand it. We always got to end off with shouting out my main man, B Visuals, because, you know, without B Visuals, this wouldn't be possible. So with that being said, man, Unselfish Behavior Podcast. That's a wrap for this episode.
Maliciousskates.com.
Yes, sir. Maliciousskates.com. Blup, 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 blup. We might even drop a bomb right here. No, well, we might drop a bomb right there. It's up to be visuals. Fuck it. All right, man. We out. Boo. Yo, what's going on? It's your main man, King Q. If you liked that episode, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, and leave a comment. And also, if you want to follow the movement, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Unselfish Behavior Podcast. And as you know, we out.